Hi guys, my name is Zen and this is Maybe Bonsai. So this week I'm not going to prune any trees. I am just going to go over some trees that I have worked on before and that haven't got an update in a while, or at least a video dedicated to them. There's a few of them and I want to go through each one just to give you a progress report on what's happening with those trees. And those three, I think three and maybe more, but one of them is the Amur maple. I have two of them and I'll go through that first, and then I think there's a field maple which I worked on last year, and then also the big Jade cutting that I had. I think most of everything else has got an update or a video on it more or less, but these three they haven't been worked on that much, so I'll give it up. So that's what I'll do this and then this video is give you an update on all three of them. Okay, so first up is the Amur maple. As I mentioned, I have two, and this is one of them that I repotted this year into a pond basket. I just want to see how it grows. And when I did repot, I cut all the branches, and then I was going to use this as the leader. So you can see, this was supposed to be the leader, but during my repot, it was not a very smooth process. I found that the roots were not that good, which I expected that to happen because of the nursery stock. And so I had to trim a lot of roots. There's a huge mess on the root ball, so I had to trim a lot. And then the root skin, or the bark on the roots, they were very fragile, as in they came off when I was raking the roots out quite easily. And I'm not sure if that damages the tree or not, but you know, I don't think it's a good thing that it happens. But I couldn't, there's much I could do because I wasn't really going that hard at it, and they were just coming off constantly, and I was kind of worried. And in the repotting process, there was a lot of buzz already on the trunk, but you know, it was all over the trunk. However, when I did it, the repot, you know, I guess I wasn't careful enough. A lot of the buzz got rubbed off. At the end, pretty much all the buzz were gone, including the ones on this leader, were supposed to be the old leader here. So I was, you know, once that happened, I was worried that this wasn't going to go anywhere. Plus I took out all the roots and all the buds were gone, so there was like kind of nowhere for the tree to go. But I kept watering it. You know, just I knew the tree wasn't dead yet. I just didn't know how much it was alive. After about, I think, a month time, it pushed out this new leader right here. So I was lucky that it was still alive. It was quite of a tough tree, which I'm glad. So that's what's going on with this one. It's in not a very good state, not very healthy, but you know, because it has this new leader that came out, I'm not too worried, because it'll gain vigor this year, and next year I'm not going to do much to it. Let's see. And I think it'll be okay. So that's this one. The next one is still in the ground. This one I took it out of the ground, or so I took it out of the pot, but the other one is in the ground. Now you can see this trunk is about, I don't know, maybe an inch or less, maybe just a little bit less, or an inch. And the one in the ground, it's got a bigger trunk, obviously. So I'll show you that next. Here is the second Amur maple. I was going to try to take it out because it's in a basket, a container that was a lot of holes on the sides of it. But I wasn't having that much success taking it out. I think it might disturb the roots. Maybe they have gone through the holes. But as you can see, this one has just been growing the trunk. Not sure how good of a view it is, but it's much thicker than the other one. Well, not much thicker, but it's quite bulky. And this is the current leader that is come up really strong and a bit straight. I actually might not take that as the leader. Actually, no. I probably will. What I'll do is probably cut it here sometime, probably next year. At the beginning of the year, I trimmed off all the branches from last year because I'm building the trunk line on this tree. So that's what I did in the beginning of the year, and all these branches that you see now, they're all new branches of that's all this year's growth. So it's quite a vigorous tree. And next year, probably before the buzz break, obviously I'm going to trim it back most likely to here, so I get the leaf buds of these two. Hopefully it will become a new leader. I will most likely pick the one to the left, because that'll kind of go back on the tree in the tree upright direction. And all I've been doing to this in the summer is that I trimmed off the top. It was just getting really tall, and I was afraid that would shade off some of the other stuff that's in the pre-bonsai garden. And a lot of branches got too long, so I trimmed those off. And that's all I'm doing for this tree. I haven't had any trouble with this, but you can see there's some like leaf cutter wasps. I think is what Nigel said in the bonsai zone. And you know, some of the leaves gets cut, but I haven't seen that much of it now, so I don't see that as a problem. But yeah, this tree is doing well in the ground. I leave it here in the winter. There's really no extra protection that it has. It's just here. It's a hardy tree, so I don't have any issues with it. So that is the second Amur maple. That's the two I have, so we'll move on to the next one. Our second tree, or a second type of tree, is the field maple. It's been here all the time as far as I had it. I think this is probably had it more than a year now. I got this last year, probably less than a year actually. So I'm going to try to take it out. It's quite dry right now, which I'm going to water afterwards. And I also been building the trunk line on this tree and nothing else. Meaning that at the beginning of the year I trim off all the branches, and then I just basically develop the leader. So right now it's hard to see, but there's actually kind of two leaders coming up. One to my left, and one to the right. The one to the right is a bit stronger, and the one to my left is a bit weaker. There's actually a third and a fourth branch. Actually, there's 5 branches coming up this one point. And what I'm going to do, not during the season, I'll just let it grow and gain vigor. But at the beginning of next year in the spring, I will cut back most of these small branches, and I'll probably just pick one of the leaders. I might actually pick the second strongest one because I like the direction of the branch. This one is going a bit too much to the right, and I don't have anything on the right. I think I mean, it could work as well, but I think I'm going to keep this one instead, although this one does have shorter inner nodes. Anyway, I don't know, maybe I'll take that one. I'll decide when the time comes. But again, I'm going to spend the time to build the trunk line a bit before I do anything else. But I think next year, maybe the last year that I'm going to do this, and then the year after next year, I will repot this into a bonsai pot, and I'll start developing the branches. So that's a field maple. Right now it's got quite the big leaves, but hopefully once I move them, it'll be better. I've seen other people's field maples. I don't know why, but their leaves is much smaller and looks a bit healthier. I think maybe the soil is a bit dry. It certainly looks really dry right now. So I'm going to put it back. I'll give it good water, and hopefully next year it'll have better leaves. So that's the field maple. Again, building for trunk line. So next up is the big jade cutting. It's quite tall right now, and it's a bit top heavy over here. I did put a little bit of wire on here just so I can get these branches a bit more horizontal than they were before, and it seems to have worked. They're, you know, really soft branches. You can bend them really easily. They also snap off really easy as well, so you got to be careful if you're gonna put any wire on it. This has been growing really well. I don't even have to worry about it. It's got a couple of 3 actually, not seedlings, they're just droppings of the leaves, and then they just germinate, or not germinate, but they just start growing in the pot. So there's like 3 small jades growing beside it. I'll just leave it in the same pot. I'm not going to worry about it. And today I think I'm going to take fix this part. This part, it's got this, I guess, a main branch here that was cut, but nothing grew out of this area, and I don't think anything else is going to grow out of it in the future either. So I need to kind of make it flatter so that's not like an obvious stump of a branch. I'm going to try with the pruners and see if I can flatten this thing off, and if it doesn't work, because right now this pruner is not big enough, I'll have to use a saw or something, but I think I can slice through. Maybe. Do it like this. So I've done these cuts before where I just cut the surface flat off, and what you get is that the skin will harden like this, and then it just eventually turns to bark, I assume, like the top here. So when I do this, it'll just eventually cover up, and I think it'll be okay. Okay, I've got the biggest cutter that I have, so hopefully this is okay. I'll just have to nibble away at this cut. So the inside of the trunk is quite soft. It's not wood. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a vegetable, I guess. It's all soft and juicy, no wood. Maybe after a long time it'll become more woody, but right now it's just nothing like that. So here's the close-up of what I did. Now this whole thing is now flat, and hopefully this will just peel over a cover of the skin. I think actually I need to clean this part up a bit, because right now it's like a really flat. It should be more of a V shape, so I'll do that. Kind of tough getting in here. I don't even think I can get in anymore. Actually, now that I look from this angle, this part needs to be flattened as well. There, I think that's okay. It's fairly flat. Just trying to make this transition smooth. So I think that's good. See, it's more flat now. More flush at least. From here looks okay. Maybe a little bit more off the top here. Or more of the bottom. Yep. Hopefully I'm not taking too much away where the other branch to my right would die off. but I think it should be okay. But I want to make sure that it's nice and smooth, or as smooth as I can get, because I don't want to do this again in a few years. You know, it probably takes a few years to heal well, and I don't want to disturb it after a couple of years. So now that's what it looks like. I think it's as smooth as I can get without going any deeper. So hopefully that'll form that little layer of skin, and it'll be okay. It could use a pruning, especially the top. It's a bit too heavy. This branch is gonna start hanging down. I would love it if there's a branch coming out of this side, kind of filling this space. And right now there's nothing. So that's why I have this branch here to kind of, you know, fill as much space as I can. But it would be hard to get anything to grow on this side because the tree is so, I mean, the cutting is so big, and these are like, I guess you can call it old wood. So I don't know how easy or hard it is to force growth out of there. Actually, there's a little bulge down here which I'm going to try to clean up. It's not that big of a bulge, but it just bothers me to see it. Okay. So yeah, I would love to have a branch on this side, you know, coming out. So that's the update on the Jade. I don't want to prune this yet, but I think I will have to prune this probably in August. It's just to make the top a bit lighter. It's heavy right now. This is starting to come down by itself, which might be a good thing. But yeah, this is growing really well. Nothing has gone wrong with this. It's been in this soil since I got it, and it drains really well. I've watered, you know, I kind of water this area every day almost, because right now we're just not getting any rain. Every day is sunny and hot and dry, not even humid. So I have to water every day, all my trees, or else they would just, you know, the ones in Bonsai soil, they would just die off. So that's the update on the Jade. I think these three types of trees is the ones that I haven't updated that much on. But I think as the last one, let's take a look at the Downy maple. Or sorry, not Downy maple, the Downy Willow. So here's the Downy Willow. It's been growing quite well. What I've done is that I repotted this in the spring. There's no video on it because I just wanted to do it. It was kind of in that time where I have to do it and where it's too late type of thing. So I done it. I cut a lot of roots off quite severely, and I was also kind of worried that this tree would not do well. But it bounced back quite well. As you can see, everything's growing, nothing died. So I was pretty happy with that. I haven't pruned it this year, other than the suckers at the bottom. And I'm just seeing that the suckers at the bottom has a lot of aphids on it. So I'm going to remove those right now so that they don't develop. But this tree currently is in a clump style with clump style where, yeah, there's like 3 main trunks, which I don't mind. It doesn't look that bad. So I think I'll keep that, but I've already pruned out some of the suckers at the bottom, so there's new ones coming up, and it just tends to kind of grow like a bush. So I'm going to clean that up right now, especially with the aphids at the bottom. I need to get rid of that ASAP. I will most likely spray the tree after, even though I don't see any aphids anywhere else. So what I'll do is I'll spray it first, and then I'll prune those off, because hopefully the spray will kill the aphids, and I'll, you know, toss a branch in the somewhere that's safe. I've got my soap and water. I'm just gonna spray it. So even though I only see the aphids at the bottom, I'm going to spray the whole tree because you never know. It's just safer to spray it. Okay, so we'll let that sit for about 10 minutes and then I'm going to wash it off. But first I'm going to prune those branches off and then I'll wash it off. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. So I'm going to remove these branches on the inside. You probably can't even see them because they're just on the very inside of these, on the tree. I'm going to remove these rocks. I have these rocks here just to make the tree more stable in the pot. So there's 2 suckers and they're both full of aphids. Hopefully dead aphids now. I'm actually not even sure how I can get in there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to wash this tree off with the hose. Everything looks okay. I don't see any aphids around. I'm just going to clean up the stud here. So yeah, I'm going to water it. I'm going to rinse it off. So the soil is quite good because it's all heavy materials. I can kind of blast it with the shower setting. It's not that strong, but it's if there was perlite in here, it would get blasted away. But with this soil, I can do this and nothing will happen. They don't even move. I just want to make sure I wash it thoroughly. Okay, back on the bench it goes. Okay, so with the tree washed, I think that's all I'm going to do today. I just wanted to make sure, to get an update on some of the trees that doesn't get updates or doesn't get videos on it not often, so that you guys know where they are, if they have been dead or alive. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.